Hi, this is Ginny Prosser, a creative partner with Kiwi Lane. I'm located in Northern California in the Bay Area, and thank you for joining me this evening to view one of my videos. Hope you enjoy it. Bye now. Hi, this is Ginny Prosser. I'm a Kiwi Lane creative partner, and thank you for joining me today. I'm going to be working on a layout, and I wanted to show you that I sometimes have leftover papers from different club kits. And one thing that I've noticed about Kiwi Lane is a lot of the color palette in their kits coordinate with each other. So you might have a November kit and a March kit of the same year, and that they have corresponding or matching colors. So I really liked this paper here, which is from the March 2020 Kiwi Lane Club Kit, and so is the check. But for the background, I pulled from a November 2020 kit, and you'll see that they blend very well together. I like to mix and match my papers, especially that's how I use up the extra pieces that I have. The green that I'm going to be using for the vine, it's actually, I've cut it off of a card making kit called Birds of a Feather, and it was probably available in 2017. The pictures that I'm going to be putting with this layout are from Sherman Library and Garden in Southern California, in Corona del Mar. I went there with my girlfriend when I was down there visiting just before the coronavirus hit, and it was a beautiful location. There's a French restaurant right on the site, and we had lunch there, and these are the pictures that I have decided to crop. This is the picture of the garden. This is a picture of Judy, my girlfriend, and I. This is a picture of myself. There's Ginny Prosser. And this is our lunch. I'm going to add to these pictures, and I'm going to use this cute little note card that came with the March 2020 kit. And in the back of the paper here with the bees is a honeycomb, a very subtle honeycomb. And the templates that came with that kit were the hexagon, which is the shape of the honeycomb. So I'm going to frame this title card here with the hexagon and use it with the kit. I know that for a fact. When I crop down my pictures, I don't always do standard 4x4, 4x6, or 3x3. I kind of visualize them as to what I want them to show. So for example, this one here of Judy and I like the floral here and here because it's going to be pictures of a garden area. But I don't like the way the light shows here on my shoulder or the people in the background. So I think what I would do is I would crop this down like so. Take away that glare and take, one of the gentlemen out of the picture and make it that size. For the one of myself, I like the floral in the background, but the water glass here is very distracting. So I think what I would do here is crop that down like such. For the food pictures, I don't think it's necessary to have the whole basket of bread showing or all the white in the front. So again, I like the basket, but I think I would crop it down like so, and maybe a little there. Sometimes I try to make them match in size, so I will probably try to crop this one down to the same size as whatever this one turns out. I like the bread plate with the bread knife on it, but I don't think you need the whole thing or all this tile. So I think I would cut that down about like that. So I have picked out my borders that I'm going to use, which is Aspen Court 3A and 3B. And I love the a la carte vine from this month's kit, so I'm going to use that. And it was pointed out to me that if you lay this just right, it almost lines up perfect along Aspen Court. We may have to trim it a little, but that's a good match. So I'm going to go and play a little bit with this, cut my pictures, line it all up, cut my borders, and I'll come back and show you what I came up with. Thank you. Hi, this is Jenny, and I'm back. Well, I've got all my pieces laid out. I did make a few changes. One of the things I wanted to point out, that this here was not a photo, it was a postcard that I had collected at the Sherman Gardens. So I'm incorporating that here along with the pictures from the lunch. Now, let's start with how I cut this out. I wanted to have most of the pattern paper with the bees showing up here because I knew there'd be more negative space, and I wanted the larger piece down here. So what I did is I took my templates and I turned them over, flipped them over onto the paper, the pattern paper, and I traced them on this side so that after I cut them out, they would be reversed and the heavier or the fatter part would be up here. And on this one, it would be down here, if that makes sense. Okay, and on the template for the vine, I did the same thing. I flipped it over and I cut it on the right side of the paper so that it would match here and here. Okay? What I've done here is I've put the vine, I've put some flowers, I've placed everything. What I'm going to do is I'm going to glue down everything but the vine and the flowers and the pieces that I'm going to accent and show you how I get my detail on my small template pieces. If you remember, I was going to do the hexagon here because I thought it would show up because of the beehive in the background, but it's so subtle back here, it really didn't pop. So I decided to use a Lacey trim, and I had a lot of empty negative space here and here. So I used the Lacey trim in both these places, and then I took the text card, the title card, and I cut it, but it looked too small. So I took a ring, a circle ring, and made it bigger, and then I put it on top of the Lacey trim. So that, I think, fills that space. And then I'm going to show you how I make these little flowers. So I'm going to come back to you in a little while after I glue down my pieces, except for the ones that I'm going to detail out. So hope you come back and join me. Hi, I'm back. And I've gone ahead and glued down the left-hand side of my two-page layout. And I've done the detail on it so we can compare what it's going to look like when we finish this side. So you'll see over here that I've completed the details on the flowers, on the vine. I put some stitching around the outside here. I've done my little ladybug and my vine. So this side is complete. So we're going to start over here on this side and see what we come up with. One thing I didn't mention is I use a magnetic easel. Those little white items here are magnets, and the board is a magnet. So it really helps me with my layout. I can set it up that way and move my pieces around, and they're there until I glue them down or adhere them down. So what I'm doing here is I'm taking my ink, which is the Distress Ink Fossil Amber by Tim Holtz, and I am going around the edge and highlighting this item. If you recall, I said that I use the ring, and I had originally going to make it this size, but I thought it was too small, so I made a larger circle to put my title card in front of, on top of. So I'm going to take pickled raspberry, and I'm going to ink around the outside here. I'm using this color because it's the same one that I used when I made this little flower here, and I'll show you how I make these little flowers when we get to that point. So I'm going to now take and adhere this right in the center here. I use a glue rather than an adhesive, and I do a lot of paper piecing and very small items like the flowers, and so I find that it's a lot easier to use a glue than it is an adhesive, like on a runner. So and it dries instantly. The only problem is it's very permanent. You can get it up if you had to and move it a little bit, but not too much. This is gel pen, and it is metallic. These are, I'm sorry, not metallic. The one I'm using is from this set. A glitter gel pen, and they're by Paper Studio. I get them at Hobby Lobby. They're $6.99. They last a really long time. And what I'm going to do is I am going to do some stitching around the outside here. When I do my stitching, you know, if you were hand stitching this, not every stitch would be exactly the same size you would hope you'd be able to. I don't really worry about it. As long as they're fairly consistent, they look really good. You can use as big as you want or as little as you want to make your stitches. And the only thing you have to be careful of is the pen doesn't dry instantly, so make sure you don't rub it as you come around. Sometimes what I'll do is I'll bring that over here, and I'll start another section like this and hope that I match up over there. You can usually make your adjustment, and it's not too bad. So let's see, I'm getting right over to that part. Let's see how it turns out. Perfect. So now this other side should be dry, so I can flip it back around. And you'll notice instead of just trying to go around with my pen, I move my paper. It makes it much easier to make it turn out the way you want it to. Okay, almost done here. There we go. There's the stitching. That's around there. Okay, now we're going to adhere. And you know, I think to really make this, let me think about this a second. I like to pop things. It's one of my weaknesses. So I'm going to go ahead and use some foam mounting strips. And I'm going to pop that up like so. That looks good. I may have gotten it a little off. I like these because they pop up pretty easy. I'm going to move it up just a titch. I eyeball everything. I never measure. I have a friend I do a lot of scrapping with, and she gets out that ruler and she measures and measures and measures. I've never been one to have to do that or feel that I have to do it. So I'm going to let that set for a few minutes and dry before I adhere it down. So you see how my little magnets work? So we can put that right there like so. When I did this one of the things I noticed, I should have lined it up a little bit better so my lines were perfect. They go kind of at an angle, but that's okay. It doesn't have to be perfect. It's probably not even noticeable to most people. So let's work on a flower now. So I'm going to take that pickled raspberry again, and this time I'm going to go around the outside of my flower. Be liberal with it. You don't have to be very afraid. You can put quite a bit of color. Now, what I do is I now take the ink and I put on the side of the dauber. And I do it like so. I hope I have that in there where you can see it. I think so. Okay, so there's one. And let's do the other one. You'll notice that I can ink quite a bit without re-inking up my dauber. These inks go a long, long way. I've had these inks for 2 years and never had to re-ink them. Again, I'm going to use the side, get some ink on that. I've been doing this for so long, I make it look easy. A little bit of practice, and it's not really hard. Okay, now let's do the center of our flowers. I'm going to show you what I use. This is a little flower punch. I bought it on Amazon for $9.99. It makes a 1-inch flower, and there is a 2-inch one that's available also, probably for about $10.99. It's a really easy punch to use. It has the little plastic holder on the bottom, so after you punch, your pieces don't go flying all over the place. You just slide it in and punch, just like that. And then there's, so I save all my little scraps. Now you can use printed or plain cardstock. I'm using plain here. I have this tool. I call it a piercing tool. It's metal and it's fairly heavy. It's made by Doris. They're pretty hard to find, but you can find tools like this in the jewelry section at Michael's or Joann's or Hobby Lobby. Anything that has a point to it. You probably use a pencil or a pen, but they're fatter. And I just put it right here in the middle of my little stem of my flower, and I bend like so. Now on this particular one, when I punched it, it cut off, I didn't have it lined up good, and it cut off the little tip there, but it's really not going to matter because I can hide it under the other one. So now you see it pops it up and rolls it and makes a cute little turn to it. So let's do all these. You just kind of hold it and and roll one side up. Roll, like so, roll. Roll. I'm hoping this is showing up on the camera. So you need 2 per flower. You could use 1, but it won't make it as 3-dimensional. A lot of people worry about having their layouts a little too thick as far as taking up room in their sleeves and in their albums, but I like the 3-dimensional look, so I'm willing to give up some space. I would say I get about 20 to 24 pages in an album, sometimes a little more, but I don't worry about that too much. So we've got them here. Again, I'm going to use my white glue, and I put them kind of off center of each other. So there's a petal here and a petal here and then a petal here. So just, it doesn't have to be perfect. Just get them off center so it looks like this. Okay. Let's let it dry a minute and let's do the other one. I'll show you this glue that I'm using in just a second while these are drying. Okay, off center. So the glue is, let me get it here. Didn't have it handy. Whoop. Sorry about that. They shook you up. Gave you a little earthquake. Okay. It's called Glue Baste It. It's by Roxanne. And this is a 2 ounce, but I buy it because I use so much in the 6 ounce. And then I buy these little on Amazon bottles, and they're, I think, a 1/2 ounce. And they come with a little thing to put on it. And if it gets plugged, I use just a straight pin and go up and down, and it clears it. So I pour this into here and refill it. This size I carry with me when I go to my retreats with my girlfriends or go visiting someone to do away from home scrapbooking. So that's why I have this size. So you can buy it at any quilt shop, and it's actually made, it's called temporary basting glue, and it's actually made for quilting when you take 2 pieces of material and you want to adhere them together when you're doing your stitching or your sewing. And then when you wash it, it dissolves and washes away after your quilt is made. When you adhere 2 pieces of paper, it becomes permanent. And it holds it in place. It's acid free, and you can even use it on the back of your pictures. I've been using it for years and years. I just love it. And you can buy it at a quilt shop. You can buy it at Amazon. I know for sure. But other than those 2 places, and Amazon is sometimes even cheaper than the quilt shops. Okay, so our flowers are dry. And now we're going to take our raspberry again and just lightly highlight the outside of our flowers. And there you go. I'm going to ink this up. You see how many things I've done with this, and just now I just added a little ink to it. Okay, there's my other flower. Now I'm going to take, again, the Paper Studio, my favorite store, Hobby Lobby. These are $3.99. It's a very long strip. How many does it say? Oh, it doesn't even say how many you get on this. But these are all pearls, and they're just the size that I like to use. They're self-adhesive. Let me get a pair of scissors here. And they're kind of stuck together, so you have to cut them off this way and then cut them individually. Now this is where I use my tool again. And I get underneath there so that the adhesive will stick with the pearl. And there's my flower. Okay, and it's just like the one right here. So, if we put some glue right here, I'm going to try to work where you can see better and there's not so much behind. Okay. Put some glue here. We can put that on there. Get another pearl. Here's our little pearl. And put it right in the center. Let me adjust this a little so I have a little bit more workspace. There we go. That'll help us a little. I'll move it back up in a minute. Okay, because I want to be able to show you how I go around the outside. Again, this is a glitter pin, the pink that's in the same set as that gold. And now I'm going to just go around the edge of my flower. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect. If it goes, whoops, see, I just went out around the edge, that's okay. I'm hoping it's showing up in my hands, not blocking everything. Up and around. Again, notice I turn my flower. And if you get the center of your flower off or whatever, flowers when they grow in the garden, they're not perfect. Each one is a different individual. Whoop, there we go. There's our flower, which is going to go right there. So let's put it over there. Did it show up? Let me show you where I put it. There you go. So now I'm going to go around the outside of this one. Let me scoot over here so we can see. I'm terrible about not putting my stuff back as I work with it. Notice I turn the flower. I don't try to strain my hand. Here's a little part that I told you was cut off. You can't even see it. It just kind of hit it. Okay. And there's our other one, which is going to go right here. I'll put it in place with the magnet. Okay, now we have another flower. And these I had already cut. And one of them I had already made. It's right here. And it's just like this one over here. So I made another one. And it's going to go right over here. And then we're going to put together this one with a little bit of glue. Turn it off center. And put the pearl in the center. Now, I did not, oh yes I did. I was going to say I did not chalk them, but I did. So let's get, there might be even enough color on this amber to be able to, yep, look at that. The nice thing about these inks, I don't know why they don't dry out. I leave them open all the time. Both of them are open right here. There you go. Look at that. See how it has the color around the outside? That one's going to go over here. And I think this one's probably dry enough. Just a little color around the outside. And this one's going to go down there when we're done. Okay, we're coming right along here. So, the one thing that I didn't do, that we're going to do now, is if you notice over here on these, they have these little tiny little pearls. They look like little pearls all the way around. Those are made with liquid pearls. This is called blush. And these are by Rangers, also, just like the distressed inks. And they come in all kinds of colors. You can get them at Joann's and Michael's and Scrapbook.com. And I think Amazon also. They're like $2 each or $2.99. And I store them in this handy plastic case down like so, so they always stay moist. And I have a variety of colors. And I think that you can buy them like a 4-pack with 4 different colors. Now, the way these work is before you put them on your item, you need to practice on something, because if it gets plugged, you have to take a straight pin and clean out the tip with the straight pin. And if you don't, and then you try to make a little pearl, it'll make a and you'll have a mess all over the place. So you want to make sure you squeeze it and clean it out and practice. The idea is when you make it is to touch your paper, squeeze lightly, and pull up. It makes a little pointed edge, but for some reason it settles back down as it hardens up and makes a little pearl look. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our flour and we're going to put a little drop in each little petal. The only thing you have to worry about when using this product is it takes time to set up. That's why I'm doing it right now. It needs to set up, and you have to be careful about putting it somewhere where you're not going to, I can't tell you how many times I've set it somewhere and then put a piece of paper on top of it. If you smudge it, if you ruin one of them or a couple of them, let it dry hard. After it's hard, you can take the piercing tool or a pair of scissors and go underneath and pop it off and redo it. If you try to get it off now, it smears all over and makes a mess. So we're going to take this flour and we're going to set it over here out of the way to harden up. It'll harden up in a few minutes, enough to be able to glue down. But before you put it in a sleeve, a protected sleeve or anything, it should dry overnight. It takes a while to harden. Now, if you can't find the liquid pearls, there's another brand called Nuvo, N-U-V-O. And they're in the scrapbook stores and online also. And they're a little bit bigger, but they work the same way. But they're not called liquid pearls. I think they're called dimensional crystals. I'm pretty sure. But look up Nuvo online and you'll see the different products that they make. Okay, there's our other flour. Now we're going to do one more. So you see this flour here. I tried something in this one here. I tried something a little different. I made the flour. And then after I made it, instead of putting the pearl in the center, I tried using the liquid pearls. And I liked how it turned out. This was my first one, and it didn't turn out half as cute as this one. So I'm going to try to recreate that one for you. Remember, push down and just twist it a little. Just push that up over that pointed blade. And there you go. Little glue. Okay. Offset them. Let's let it sit a minute before we put the ink on it. We need to go over here and take our other Lacey trim. Couldn't think of the name of it earlier when I was doing the beginning of the video. let's move this over here because we're not going to use this color. We're going to use a different color. And let's do the outside here. Now you'll notice when I distress these, I don't just go around the edge like so. I want my distressing to show. I want it to really stand out. So I put quite a bit. I mean, you can just go around the edge, but that's what makes mine look so three-dimensional. Okay, let's get the lid on that because we're all done with this color. I'm going to put it over here. I'm going to go ahead like we did before. I'm hoping you'll be able to see this. And put my lines. Maybe if I move some of this out of the way, it'd help, huh? That's a little better. Trying to keep you in the camera. Now I just did what I told you not to do. You see, it didn't. These are the liquid pearls over here, and I stuck it right in it, but it's on the back of our piece. So it's not going to make that much difference. Turn your piece as you make it. Don't try to do it and twist your hand all out of whack. I have this white piece of paper here just so it'll show up really good. I thought that would help. If you haven't cut with the Lacey trims or the rings, the thing about them that people try really hard to, you'll notice here, when I cut this, I didn't have enough of the paper. And so it doesn't really matter that this part is cut off here because it's going to be tucked underneath there. One thing I did notice that I didn't do, I'm going to grab my ink again, is I need to put my inking in the center. But our other one we didn't have to because we were gluing down the title card, but this one, we want it to match this one over here, which we did put some ink, and we did do the stitching. So let's make a match. This paper reminds me of a tablecloth. Cute little kitchen tablecloth. Hope you can see that. Trying to keep it in the camera. It's hard to tell. Almost done here. There, yep. Let's turn it a little so I don't twist it around. Okay. This is going. So what I was going to tell you is when you cut your Lacey trims or your rings, you just take your scissors and make one cut in, and then you can cut around, and you can actually save the center for another use. Because there's always, when you use these, you either tuck them or you can put a flower or some kind of little embellishment to cover your cut. In this case, I'm tucking, so it can't even show. So while we have that there, and this is what I do when remember I had my other one crooked, so I'm going to straighten that out. What I do to make sure that I have it in the right place is I'm going to put that magnet right there to tell me when I get my glue on the back of here. The thing about this glue, it goes a long, long ways. You don't need much. It doesn't have to be in every nook and cranny. You just put a little. Okay, let's make sure I have it straight. move it up a little. Scoot that up a little. There we go. And put that down. Okay. This says bottom right. After I matted this, I wanted to make sure that the mat I cut fit the picture, so I marked it so I would know. Again, I eyeball it. I don't measure. If you're a measurer, then you could measure to make sure you have it lined up perfect. Okay, we got that down. We got our flowers made. Oh, this one here got moved a little, so I'm going to put it back like so. Now I'm going to ink around the outside. Okay, got it. I'm going to use a different color this time. This is called Watermelon. I'm going to test it again on this little, okay, it's good to go. And now I'm going to put this where you can see it. And I'm going to put little, just little ones. 1, I think like that. 1, 2, 3, 4. I had 6 on my other one. I will throw another one in. There. Gotta let it dry like the other one, so let's move it over. Put it over there on my other work area. So you notice here that I have a vine, and I've cut one here. Oh, see, now I'm going to cover up part of my detailing, but that's okay. This time, let me put this pink away. We're done with that. And we're done with this. Those can go over here. This time I'm going to use Mowed Lawn. My husband might be joining us in a minute. I don't think he knows I'm making a video, and I hear him in there getting ready for bed. So I'm going to go, and I'm going to ink it up like so. Okay.
I'm going to bed.
Yep, I told you he was going to come in and say night. That was him just saying he's going to bed. Okay. Here we go. So I've got that all ink. I'm going to take, this is just a black roller pen. You can use any kind of pen that you like. And I'm just going to go around the outside. Now, I have a green pen, and I could use green, but I want it to really show up on this. Hoping I'm in the camera. Let me move the camera just a titch. There we go. So it's not necessary to do all this detailing. It's just been something that I've always loved doing. And as I started doing it on a lot of my Kiwi Lane pages, people kept asking me how I do it. And so I decided I would start doing some demos. Today, my first video went live on Kiwi. It was shows all the product, and you'll be able to watch it in a couple days on the blog. All the products I use and how I do what I'm showing you now. But it only shows making individual little pieces. It doesn't show the design of a layout. So this is going to go here, just the opposite of the other one. I'm going to use a little of my glue. I'd say about like that. And you know that, I don't think I'm going to put the flower on yet. We'll put the flowers on at the very end because they're still drying up. Okay, so looks like our last item is going to be the vine. So I got quite a few magnets here. They just hook together. They're really cool. And then I just have a tin over there. I throw them in and they just pop right in there. Okay, let's sneak out our vine. And I'm going to use, this time, I'm going to set this aside. Oh, I wanted to show you this. If you get your inks out and you can't tell what color this is and which lid, if I get too many out at a time, on the back it says Mowed Lawn and this says Mowed Lawn. So you know they go together. I keep my daubers in this little dauber case that I bought from Amazon. And you can see the different colors in there. My browns, my greens, my reds, my pinks. And my distressed inks I keep in the Ranger box. And it's made with this little plastic insert so they can't fall out. And with a clear window so you see what color you have in there. Those are all available on scrapbook.com and on Amazon. And Michael's and Joann's carries them also. I've seen them there. So we're going to use a different color. That's why I moved that. And I'm going to use this one called Peel Paint. And it's kind of avocado green. This actual piece of paper that this is cut from is from a card making. Years ago, you used to buy these from Kiwi, these kits that you can make cards with, and we also had them for giving demos when we went to do the in-home party demonstrations, or if you were at a convention. I take them and I give them out at my live retreats I go to when I try to show how we do our templates. And I give them to the people so they can make a little card and use the little templates just from, small samples. So you can see I'm being messy. You want a lot of color. You don't want it just around the edge. It just doesn't work as well. So really ink her up. Don't be afraid. So you see how much I have on there. Quite a bit, right? Okay. Let's put her over here where you can see it. Can you see it over there? Yeah. Okay. Now, back to the Mowed Lawn, which was the darker color that I used. Again, I'm going to move this just a little. Bear with me. There you go. I want you to have a good view of this. And you remember I showed you, instead of using the top, I turned it on its side. So I'm going to ink the edge. And I'm going to just take the edge and make a little line. On each one. Can you see it? I hope so. They don't have to be alike. No leaves are exactly alike when you look at a vine. Now, I like my vines growing up, not down. But you can put this vine up, down, across. This is one of the newest templates that I absolutely fell in love with the minute I saw it. Okay, now look at the color on there. You could stop right there. That looks great just the way it is. But I'm the detail girl. I got to put more detail. So I am going to go around, of course. Luckily, I've done this so much, I'm pretty quick at it, so you don't have to spend all night watching me do it. Again, they don't have to be perfect. It's a vine. It's whimsical. If you wanted to get fancy, you could put another detail, which I've done before, but I'm trying to keep it simple for you. We're halfway there. I've heard a lot of the gals question on this, how long it takes to cut this vine out, and you'd be surprised if you haven't already cut it out. See, I went out of the line there, and you can't even tell. I just pulled it back. It goes a lot faster than you think. I think it took me 5 minutes to cut it out the other night. The scallop template takes longer. Okay, I think you can see what I'm doing here. Again, I turn my piece, so I make it easy on myself. Am I still in the camera? Yep. It's coming along, almost done. Okay. I'm going to turn it, flip it back. It's going to be easier coming from this direction now. You just have to feel it out. What feels easiest for you? I can't show you how to do it left-handed because I'm right-handed, but I'm sure you left-handed people out there can figure it out. 3 more. 2 more. There we go, last one. Here we are. There's our vine. Do you love it? I do. Now, when I decided I was going to use, I think it was Abby, it doesn't exactly line up, but that's okay. It's close enough. It follows the curve of it. So let's move our picture out of the way. And let's glue it down. Now, you remember I told you it doesn't take much glue. I'm just putting a drip on each one of these. And the reason I put it in a smaller bottle, the 2 ounce that I told you can buy does come with a tip also that you can put on it that looks just like this. But as it gets low in the bottle, it's hard to squeeze. And I'm getting arthritis in my old hands. And so I found that if I use a smaller, and it dries clear. So if you get it on your paper in the wrong place, just wipe it off just with clean hands. If you have dirty hands, that doesn't help. But and if it comes down here and it hangs off, we'll cut it off afterwards, which it is just a little. Okay. Here's our, see, top right. So I know right where I have to put it. That was because I cut those mats and they were all the same colors. Make sure my salmon is heading in the right direction. I'm going to tuck that underneath there just a little. And I've got my piercing tool here. This thing comes in handy for so many things. I am going to lift up, because this hasn't dried yet, I think. There we go. That leaf. And I think I'm going to try this one. Let's see if I can do that. think it'll look cute if it's kind of vined around it. I might have to put a little bit of glue here. A little more. Remember I said it won't hurt. It's acid-free. And I'm going to put that magnet there to hold it. Okay, let's get our flowers. Woo! Here's our flowers we made. Okay, these are hard. See? They're hard. So that was supposed to go, I think, about there. Let's put that there and see. I was going to put this up here where it didn't line up. Can you see that? I think that's still in the camera. Let me move it up a little. I was going to put that one right there. So let's put a little glue on it. Then that won't be so obvious. Put a little glue on the back of it. I'm going to put that so it doesn't slide down until it dries. Okay. And then my other one. I think I had that here. I kind of forgot where I had it. That should be dry now. Let's put that there and see. And this here. Let's see. This one I've got at every other one. Maybe I'll move this down here. Yeah, let's do that. Let's do that. I think I actually had it right there. I like it right there. Put a little glue on the back. Okay. Now, these I popped up on this over here. So I'm going to take my squares again. Put it right on there like that. Peel it off. These are actually from the dollar store. When I see them at the dollar store, I buy them up. Maybe a little higher. Let go. I don't want it in my sauce, but that's good. That looks good, huh? I think we got it. Now, the only thing we're missing is our little flower. Let's see if it's dry. Yep. So it's dry. Now, like I said, they're dry to the touch. They won't go flat, but they have to dry overnight before you can put it in. And let's see. I put that up toward the top on here, about right here. So I'm going to put a little glue on the back. Not much. Don't want it sliding off. We didn't glue that down. That's why I have those magnets there. Let's do her. I love this print on the back. Like I told you, you don't have to go in every nook and cranny, and you don't have to glue the center. This stuff's so strong. Okay. Let's move her up a little. Make sure I don't have my tablecloth print, that I called it, too crooked. I still am not happy with this. I'm going to pull this off a second. Like I said, that doesn't dry instantly. Well, I've already done that one time, but I can do it again. This is never a mistake, just an opportunity to be creative. Okay, I got that back on. Just not happy. Let me pull that off. I don't know how many of you do this, but if I'm not happy, I'll redo it. So I'm going to put a little glue on the back to keep it in place, since I've ruined my adhesive. And I did not get that centered as well as I would have liked to. Okay, I did that off camera, I'm sorry. All I did was recenter it a little bit better. So this glue dries, like I said, pretty quickly. So I have to redo it because it's not going to adhere. You can see where it's left the stain there, but that's okay because we're going to cover that up. See, even have mistakes on. I'm going to scoot it over just a little. See if I can get the checks lined up a little. There we go. I'm happier with that. Now, I think the one thing I want to add, again, sometimes I don't think you can have too much detail. But sometimes I get carried away. But in this case, I think I want to get carried away. I'm going to take my pink pen that I went around these flowers, and I'm going to stitch. I don't know why that bothered me. Now, I'm going to turn it for you. Because, remember what I said? I got to turn my piece. I don't want my hand in the ink. I hope I'm in the camera. Can you see me? I think so. Wasn't necessary to do this, but for me it is. I got the other stitching. I might as well look like I stitched the whole thing, huh? Years ago, I used to sell on eBay and do a lot of paper piecing, and I made paper bag scrapbooks. I don't know whether you guys ever remember those, but I sold for 10 years on eBay, and I would do a lot of what my daughter called doodling. That's what she calls this, doodling. And I did stitches and dots and all kinds of stuff. And people used to think it was hand-stitched when they'd see the pictures on eBay. And then they'd get it in the mail and they go, oh, I thought it was hand-stitched. So I had to start putting that. This is not hand-stitched. It's hand-drawn. There you go. Now I'm happy. What does my husband say? If Mama's happy, everybody's happy. Okay, I think we can take that off now. Whoop, let's take those off. And let's see what we have for a finished piece. Can I get this in here? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. What do you think? I'm happy. Now, I have a little ladybug that I put over here. And we could do one over here. Do you think we should? Because I didn't get to show you how I did this, did I? I don't remember. Well, I'm going to get it out because I think it would be fun to have or have a friend. Let me get them out. Again, guess where they're from, guys? Hobby Lobby. $1.99. You get about 25 of them in a package. You got to check them out. Sometimes they're a little defective. Oh, yeah, like this one. Look at the eyes on this one. Can you see it? The eyes are like way off kilter. So I try to pick out a good one. This one's a perfect one. They're self-adhesive. Take my handy-dandy little tool again. Sorry for hitting the camera. My handy-dandy little tool. Take off the protector to the adhesive. And I think I'm going to put it... I think I'm going to put her right down here. Let me see if you can see that. Yeah. Like she's going to this flower. And I'm going to show you my favorite liquid pearls. This is called Onyx. And I'm going to test it. Yep, it's perfect. And I'm going to make her look trying to adjust it for you. There you go. I'm going to make her look like she's come from this flower here. So I'm going to do some little dots, real tiny. There we go. She just left this flower and she decided she wants to go to our cute flower over here that we made. Okay. So I think this is our finished page. I think it turned out okay. I showed you how to use liquid pearls, my handy dandy pen, the distressed inks. There's glitter pens and there's metallic pens. And they're different colors, variations of the colors, but a little different. And they're both available at Hobby Lobby. Now, I know you can get other brands. These were just so inexpensive, I figured, what the heck. The only mistake I see that I did here was when I glued this one on. I didn't make sure that it was, the lines were going in the right direction, but I don't think it's that noticeable. And like I said, I changed my design. I very seldom do layouts without my pictures. It's very hard for me to be real creative when I don't know what my picture's going to look like, because I pick my paper based on sometimes the colors in the pictures. Now, in this particular case, you'll notice Judy has on, my girlfriend, the red top, and I have a floral top, and it has and the food has nothing to do with this. Where I picked my color scheme from were these pink flowers right here. Out of all this, it was the pink flowers. I saw those pink flowers. I said, I'm going to do pink flowers. And then I found this paper with Kiwi with the pink vines and the gold vines. And I said, I'm going to do the vines and the little bees and my ladybugs. Well, thank you for joining me. I'll be making more of these, I think. This is my second video. I was very happy with my first one, so I thought I'd sign up and do another one and show you how I complete my layouts. So I hope you have a nice evening, and thanks for joining me. Bye now.